As we get closer to summer, more and more outdoor activities are coming into view, and May is National Bike Month. And here to talk about some common questions is Sergeant Darren Mitchell. He works in the Boise Police Bike Unit. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Good afternoon. Happy to be here.
Well, it seems like one of the most commonly asked questions we hear about here is whether or not riders need to use the bike lanes or the sidewalk.
Riders are required to use the bike lane when there's one available as opposed to the roadway. Bicyclists and e-bikes and e-scooters are allowed to use the sidewalks. However, when there's a bike lane available, they have to use the bike lane instead of the roadway.
Interesting. So what about side-by-side riding or in large groups? Is that allowed?
That is allowed to ride in groups. No more than two abreast. The only thing with riding two abreast is that when approached by a vehicle from the rear, the riders have to move into a single file line so the vehicle can pass. You can ride greater than two abreast on a bike path or bike lane if the path is greater than 12 feet wide.
Well, that's good to know. And what are the laws for bicyclists at stop signs and stoplights?
Idaho has an interesting law where bicyclists approaching a stop sign don't have to come to a complete stop, but they must yield. Bicyclists approaching a stoplight must stop and then can proceed through the intersection as long as it's safe to do so.
Are there any brochures or a website that bicyclists can go to look at these terms?
The Boise Police Department website would probably be one of the best places to start. There's other bicycle agencies and clubs in the city that have a lot of these things on their websites as well. However, the BPD website has a lot of useful information as it relates to bicycle laws.
Yeah, and it's always good to get informed on all of those before you start riding your bike. Well, what are some common safety concerns that you see, and how can we all make sure that we're biking safely?
One of the things that we like to see that people do is make sure that they're visible. Make sure you always wear a helmet, and use common sense safety practices. Make sure you look before you go. When it's congested, slow down. Stuff like that. A lot of it is common sense. If you're out at night, make sure that you have your reflectors and your lights on so you're visible. That's one of the primary things, though, is just to make sure that everybody else can see you, especially motorists. Bicycle and motorist crashes, usually the bicyclist loses.
Yeah, well, what about kids? Is there any different laws that comes to children?
The only one law that's different for children under the age of 18 is they are required by that law to wear a helmet. All the other laws are the same for children. Younger riders, it's always a good opportunity to give kids safety tips. Same thing, look before you go, slow down at corners, and common sense things like that. It's always good that parents and experienced riders that are with children are giving them those types of safety tips.
Yeah, well, that's all great information that we all should be aware of. So thank you so much for your time today, Sergeant Mitchell. It's always a pleasure to have you on here.
Thank you very much. Enjoyed it.